you, in a way, have a death wish.
I think that's what the stage
before.
diving was about.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, kill me, crucify me, get me, come on.
It's always like, oh, my favorite artist, he's so smart. It's like, this man is so smart. Once a woman comes in, it's like, oh, he's being manipulated. Men are smart or dumb depending on your convenience. Hi guys, welcome back. It's been long since I've done one of these reactions, but not always I find something that I'm truly engaged with and interested in the moment to react and to talk about. And also, sometimes I just want to do original content, even if the reactions do a lot better. But I'm back, and we're gonna react today to Courtney Love. Yay! I'm not sure how loved she is. I am very aware that Courtney Love is kind of, or has been kind of problematic. She's had a lot of problems with substance abuse, which hasn't always worked well for her in the public image. We have a lot of messy scenes from her and messy moments from her. But at the same time, she's loved and reinvited back again into the public image, public sphere, because she's just so interesting. And she speaks in such an engaging, messy, clear, clairvoyant, truthful, honest, open way that even if you feel confused by her words or you are against everything that she embodies, you can't help but feel a certain magnetic connection with her. She's just super charismatic and very real. I guess that's the word to describe her. Courtney Love, for the ones that don't know her, she's the front woman, the singer of the 90s punk rock band Hole. This was a band that was really famous in the 90s, coming up with the whole grunge scene, even though they did punk rock. Even though she's punk rock, she's not a riot girl and she never associated with them. She was very different in age, and the main difference in between them, or the main reason why Courtney Love said that she didn't want to be associated with the riot girls, is because she felt like they were infantilizing women. I think it's just a matter of them being different ages and coming from different backgrounds, for sure. We can talk about that another time. Courtney Love was also the wife of Kurt Cobain, probably one of the most famous people from the 90s. And that was kind of the best thing that happened to her because he was the love of her life and stuff like that. And also the worst thing that happened to her because people have been questioning her artistry and her capabilities ever since she married him. She kept releasing albums, and some of those albums were really acclaimed critically. And what a lot of people's opinions were was that they were only good because Kurt Cobain probably helped her write the lyrics or make the album. And that has followed her whole life, whether she's famous only because of Kurt Cobain or because he wrote her music or whatever, you know. It's an endless quest. It's like Charlie XCX also talked about this, how people were surprised that she was the own producer and writer of her own songs. Normally, I have to say that I'm pretty annoyed at presenting a woman or an artist by saying that she was the wife of such and such man. But I have to say that I like Kurt Cobain. I just said that I like a man. I'm sorry, but he's just one of the very few famous male singers, musicians that from that time, from the 90s, that I actually do like. I think he was just as her. They were a couple that were ahead of their times, you know, in their ideas. Like Kurt Cobain has spoken multiple times about feminism, about homophobia, about racism at a time where people were not speaking about these things publicly unless they were part of these oppressed collectives. He was a straight cis man that understood how fucked up the world is and his privilege 30 years ago, 30 years before we started even talking about these things in the mainstream media, okay? Because people have been talking about this for centuries and years and decades and everything. So I'm not that annoyed at saying that Courtney Love was Kurt Cobain's wife. I think she was amazing and I think he was amazing. Why is she one of my personal heroes? I don't like her music that much. I'm not a huge fan of punk. I like the punk that is more melodic because I don't have an ear for punk or for grunge. I don't like grunge music at all. So I don't like her music that much, but I really admire her. I have a tendency to admire people that are the opposite from me. When I first learned about her, I was just fascinated. She's like an open book, a raw book she was. And as a person that has been very introverted and trying to keep my shit to myself and stuff like that, it seemed amazing to see a person being so truthful in front of thousands of people, just because that's just how she is. A lot of the people comment in her interviews, because I've watched them all, that they love her, that they really admire her, but they wouldn't want to be in a room with her. And you will kind of get that when you watch the interview, when we watch this interview. She has a very frenetic rhythm of talking. It's almost as if her mouth can't catch up with her brain because she's incredibly smart. Like, you can tell that she's incredibly smart. And so everything that comes out is like it's her thought process into the words. And that can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you're not like that. It just seems like she's always on coke, but she's not always on coke. that's just how she is. Which is actually one of the things that apparently fascinated Kurt Cobain, just seeing someone so passionate, so open, and so magnetic. I can totally get why she was so attractive, or why she is so attractive. Honestly, I can get it. The interview that we're gonna react to today, it's pretty legendary. And it's pretty legendary because this interview happened not long after Kurt Cobain took his own life. So you're going to see a Courtney Love that's grieving, a Courtney Love that's feeling guilty, a Courtney Love that's still suffering. And that is going to be combined with an interviewer who is pretty much a bitch. The interviewer pretty much ambushes her with prejudice and with very polemical questions, very problematic questions that make up an interview that honestly I don't think that today will be allowed to air, or it will air, but I think Barbara Walters, which is the interviewer, will immediately be jobless the next day because it's absolutely disrespectful. And the fact that a lot of people probably watched this interview in the 90s and decided that, yes, Courtney Love is a problematic one in this interview, it just drives me insane. You know that I do a lot of 90s nostalgia and that I love the 90s and stuff like that, but it's more like a sort of like an entertainment or like an escape for me, because when I watch things like this is when I feel so thankful that I was actually born in the time that I am born, because there's just some things that I just cannot understand could have happened. It makes me so upset that the world was like this, and also it makes me understand a little bit more, you know, when you have like discussions with your parents. Seeing this from the past makes me understand that, wow, they've come a long way. We've come a long way. What the actual hell? The world was made to make women suffer. So anyways, I'm gonna shut up. Let's react to the interview. I will tell you little things here and there about Courtney Love's life so you understand a little bit more about her, and also not to make 11 minutes of me talking again. Let's go.
Good evening. Summer may be drawing to a close, but for the next hour at least, we're having a heat wave with 3 blistering hot female stars. Last season, we chose rock star Courtney Love as one of our 10 most fascinating people. We only aired a small portion of her interview. We saved the rest for tonight. This interview is one of the most provocative and devastating I've ever done. But
Provocative and devastating because you wanted it to be, bitch. The fuck?
the first time, Courtney tells why her superstar husband, Kurt Cobain, committed suicide. She says it was her fault. And tonight, she reveals why. With a featured role in a controversial new film, Courtney is now on the brink of superstardom. The other 2 women on our show are already there. We visited Sandra Bullock, who had a little time to kill while she was filming in Mississippi. And if you recall my striptease lesson with Demi Moore, well, here's your chance to experience my embarrassment all over again. I don't get any better the second time around. So, Sandra Bullock, Demi Moore, and a gotta-see Courtney Love interview. A sure cure for the summertime blues.
The Barbara Walters Special.
Just how this would end when I get what I want, but I never want it again.
Rocker Courtney Love conjures up distinct images. Baby Doll Gone Bad, Prom Queen meets Night of the Living Dead, and the primary one, Grieving Widow.
You see the condescending way of introducing her, like blah, 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 rocker, singer, blah, blah, but also, no, but mainly a widow. That's all you are. Fucking hell. Your husband dies, and on top of that, you have to stand people telling you you'll only be that. You'll only be a widow. Your husband is dead. Reminding you every single second.
If Kurt Cobain wasn't the voice of his generation, he was at least its somberest poet laureate.
Everything is my fault.
He was a junkie with a lot on his mind. In Courtney Love, he found a soulmate with whom he could share sex, drugs, and Seattle-style rock and roll. When they married and had a child, most of Kurt's fans saw her as a manipulative groupie who got lucky.
It makes me so upset. You see, it's like a curse. You know what the funny thing is? It's always like, oh, my favorite artist, he's so smart. It's like, this man is so smart. Once a woman comes in the picture, whether it's Yoko Ono or Courtney Love or whatever, it's like, oh, he's being manipulated. Oh, he's too kind. And she's the bitch. She's manipulated, but she's a nobody, you know, like she just got lucky. And it's like, so what is it? Is he really smart? And if he's really smart and she's dumb, why is she the bitch and manipulating him? Men are smart or dumb depending on your convenience.
Kurt Cobain was found dead this morning at his Seattle estate. The lead singer...
Cobain was 27 years old with a history
And I'm
of
just
drug...
coming at Kurt Cobain's fans that hate Courtney Love. I have nothing to say against Kurt Cobain. He's perfect.
problems.
Cobain's body was found in an upstairs apartment.
When Cobain put a gun in his mouth in 1994, they saw Courtney as at least partially responsible.
And what do you do with a revolution?
This is how she fought back, with the thunder of guitars and unflinching lyrics. Music with teeth. As the lead singer for the alternative band called Hole, Courtney is a dangerous presence on stage, often diving into the crowd and suffering the abuses of thousands of strangers' groping hands. And even more shocking, she often evokes on stage the image of her husband's suicide.
Sorry, I just started and I keep stopping this thing. I'm like 4 minutes in, but like what a twisted way of talking about her. Like, oh, and she even reproduces the image of her dying husband, whatever. Who are you to tell her how to grieve?
But it's not just an act. Rock critics say the music is exceptional. Last year, Rolling Stone voted Hole's release, Live Through This, Album of the Year. But how big a star is Courtney Love?
Are you okay?
She only has a small part in the just-released Feeling Minnesota.
Go ahead. Shoot.
But this winter, she stage dives into the biggest risk of her career, a leading role in Milos Forman's The People vs. Larry Flint, in which he portrays the hustler publisher's tormented wife.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are.
She and her daughter live, believe it or not, a quiet life near Seattle's Lake Washington. Frances Bean Cobain is now 4 and the spitting image of her father.
Twinkle, little star.
In the house Courtney and Kurt once shared, there is the sense that she is living with a ghost.
You want to make up a song?
Kurt's chaotic art is everywhere.
Do you want to wear one of your pretty necklaces?
His baby picture.
Chaotic art, living with a ghost. Yeah, maybe, because my husband just died. I don't know if you're aware. And you want to like exploit it in this fucking interview, but you also want to make me feel guilty for it, and you want to judge me, and you want to judge him. The fuck?
His ashes. Even some of his hair, kept in a Buddhist shrine in the living room. I want to ask you a question I ask a lot. But the focus these days is on Courtney, who is now trying to project yet another image, that of survivor. What's the biggest misconception about you?
That I'm not educated, and that I'm not clean, and that I'm not...
Clean, being clean in person, or clean on drugs, off drugs?
Well, both.
Mm-hmm. You are on nothing?
No.
You are on nothing today?
No.
No heroin?
My God.
Well, I'm going to ask you all the questions that people think. No more heroin?
No,
Finished?
no.
Prozac?
No. Stop.
Prescription drugs?
Didn't work. The Prozac didn't work.
Did you use heroin while you were pregnant?
Yes, in the first month of my pregnancy, absolutely I did. Never denied it. Never have denied that.
Are you a good mother?
Yes, I'm an excellent mother.
Ever do drugs in front of your child?
My God. What a question. No.
But Courtney, you know these are the things that people say. Some people feel that
it's your responsibility to interview the artist that is in front of you, who on top of it, it's a grieving wife, okay, but it's your responsibility to make a decent, respectful interview. What the fuck is this interview? It makes me so upset. No, everyone's saying these things about you. So, people are saying all kinds of shit. A little bit of context, yeah? Before Kurt Cobain's death, there was an article published by Vanity Fair, which you can find online, actually. Vanity Fair published it in their archives. In the article, Courtney Love is very pregnant, and the article is for both of them. And the article kind of says that they did drugs during her pregnancy, like way into her pregnancy, which is not true. Her words were twisted. She did H until 3 weeks because she didn't know that she was pregnant. Once she realized that she was pregnant, she quit it. But anyways, that article was very, very, very biased. And it was so bad, and there were so many references to them not going to be good parents and that they were going to be terrible parents, that there is a theory that that really affected Kurt Cobain's mental health, because he felt really bad about himself and started questioning if it was true, and he just started to see no way out kind of thing. That's where the H question comes from.
you, in a way, have a death wish, and that you are going to end up dying.
I think that's what
long
the stage
before.
diving was about.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, kill me, crucify me, get me, come on, tear my breasts off, take off my underwear, little shreds, go on, do it, take out my hair, break my arms, break my teeth. I lost a tooth, this is right here, they knocked it out, I did a cap.
Is that over?
Honestly, no, I don't know if it ever will be. It's always been there.
Why, Courtney? Why do you have the feeling that you've got to do away with yourself?
I'm a rebel, and I am pissed. I'm mad that I feel like Americans feel like, well, this soap opera would be so much neater if she was dead. So they project this onto me.
Angry with you that you're still alive and he's not. So why don't you do it?
Not even anger or hostility so much as like, finish it off.
Let's get rid of this story.
It's the soap opera. We've been watching General Hospital for years. You know, you're supposed to die now. I have a daughter, and it makes me just want to just flip them the bird. It makes me angry.
That people want to see you finished because it ends.
Yeah, there's a part of me that
story.
has like amazing, huge guilt, and another part of me that's like, forget it. I'm going to be 95.
She's just so engaging that I need to force myself to stop. The stage diving was a phase that she had after Kurt Cobain's death and after she started touring again. She herself has said that she went on tour way too early, but it was probably like her way of grieving on stage and stuff like that. And her concerts at that time were very, very messy, but they were also very legendary as well. She gave a lot of good concerts, but also like insane concerts, like seeing a person that is not supposed to be there kind of concerts. Stage diving, this is actually true. Like she went stage, you know that Billie Eilish came out a few years ago, you know, like she used to do stage diving and apparently someone touched her or someone did something to her, right? Like sexually assaulted her. Well, with Courtney Love, it was extreme because it was 30 years ago. And on top of that, there was a lot of misogyny. So a lot of people didn't like Courtney Love because my star is dead, Kurt Cobain is dead, and now she's the bitch that stayed kind of thing. They were actually sexually assaulting her, but also violently assaulting her. Like they were ripping her clothes. There is a picture from her that she went stage diving and she had that dress that she usually wears and stuff like that. And she came back to the stage and she was almost naked. The underwear was the only thing left on her. That's how crazy it was. And also from her point of view and an image of her mental health, that's how much in danger she put herself in. That's how vulnerable she made herself be in front of everyone. It's crazy.
So I'm torn between the two places.
Courtney, your childhood.
I think that if it wasn't for her child, I think Courtney Love would have gone behind Kurt Cobain, maybe. I'm not sure. He left a letter for her. Apart from his unalivement note, he left a letter that was just for her, which she said was really long, and a lot of it it's not that it didn't make sense, but a lot of it was just him repeating himself over and over and over, like rambling on. One of the things that stuck with me when she talked about that letter is that he said to her, don't follow me. Like, don't do the same thing that I did. And I think that, and probably the fact that she has a daughter, is what made her stay. Like, I don't want to theorize about someone else's mental health, but everything she says, it just hints that she was conflicted in between wanted to, or just to piss everyone off, just stay on this earth forever.
It reads like some kind of a novel that people wouldn't believe. What was your childhood like?
I don't know my biological father.
You don't know him personally, you mean?
Not really. I mean, I've had interactions with him. More like altercations with him. He had custody taken away from him when I was 3.
Why? Why? Your father...
59 or 70.
Your father was not allowed to see you unsupervised until you were an adult, weren't
He wasn't allowed to see me at all,
Why?
ever. He gave me acid when I was 3.
How? Why?
Because he wanted... You won't believe this. It's so hysterical. Apparently, he wanted... it was like a eugenics freak. And I'm biologically part Jewish, part Irish. It's no wonder I'm neurotic. And he was anti-Semitic. His father was anti-Semitic, as was he. And he also made acid. 3 people testified that he gave me acid. He wanted to make a superior race. And that by giving children acid, that you could do that. Now, he denies this, and who knows?
And at 15, at least from what I read, you began to travel around and earn money as a stripper.
Mm-hmm. No, I did once. And then I have stripped erratically over the years, yes. But at 15, I went to Japan. And I remember I called my mother from Japan, and I'm like, I'm in Japan, and I'm stripping, and she didn't believe me. And
it's hard to believe. How'd you get to Japan at 15 to start stripping?
I had to give up my passport in order for me to get back. After I realized what was really going on, I turned myself in for deportation.
I don't think you understand what she's saying. She got to Japan to strip specifically, and then she wanted to come back to America, but they didn't let her because whoever took her there was like, no, you have to give me your passport. And she had the intelligence, I guess, or someone gave her the advice of going to the police and saying like, I'm illegal here, so they will deport her back to the States. That at 15 is a crazy story. This is what I mean when I tell you that at the time of this interview, she was like 30 or barely 30 or something like that, but she feels like she has the life experience of an 80-year-old woman that has been through a lot. You know, not just any 80-year-old woman, but an 80-year-old woman that has lived. How can you expect a person to be normal and proper when you've had this life?
Your mother is this intelligent woman, a therapist today, who simply wasn't there for you. Yes? No?
Yes, I was the first child, and also I was the child of a man that repulsed her.
Did you feel abandoned?
Yeah.
To say the least?
Yeah, but a lot of people get very into, I mean, the name of my band arises from a conversation that I had with my mother. It's not, people always think it's obscene, and I guess it has that entendre, and as a poet, as somebody who always wanted to be a poet, and there's no money in it, I've always been looking for the quadruple entendre, you know, the bard, you know, what Shakespeare could do. And my mother said to me, now, Courtney, you know, you just can't walk around with a hole in yourself because you had a bad childhood. And I remember thinking, what a brilliant name, Hole.
You talk about lyrics.
And what a manipulative mom. The mom released a book that is technically her biography, but she talks a lot about Courtney, which Courtney didn't like, obviously, because who would like your mom exploiting the story of your childhood for money or as an excuse to talk about her therapy studies, whatever. Courtney was really hard to manage ever since she was a kid. Probably also because she felt abandoned by her mom. Her mom married a bunch of times, had a bunch of other kids, and then moved around a lot. And then Courtney, a lot of the times, ended up being left behind. Like actually from the time she was 15, no, or 14 or something like that, she lived in foster houses. So she lived with a bunch of different people. When her mom and her stepdad moved to New Zealand or something like that, she went there for a while, but then they sent her back, or the other way around, and she lived with a friend of her mom. So yeah, she was always being left alone and left behind, I guess. And at 16, she got emancipated from her mom. So at 16, she was an adult, I guess. How wouldn't you feel abandoned? A lot of people that knew Courtney and Kurt Cobain say that they have never seen a more attached couple. Like Courtney attached to him like she hadn't attached to anyone before, and vice versa. Cobain had a really deep connection with her. And they both have similar childhoods in that sense. Like Kurt Cobain was also a complicated child, and he ended up being like foster houses for a while and very different families. He had a lot of struggles with that. And maybe they kind of both found in each other the family that they didn't have before. Like the connection, the companionship that they had never experienced before.
There are times on stage when you simulate your husband's death. To some people, that's really terrible taste. Why do you do it?
What do I do? Do I ignore it? Do I acknowledge it? Is there a middle ground? What can I do? Do I sit here and, you know, play Betty Crocker and pretend that I don't write music?
So this
and
was
die?
So this was your way of what? Paying tribute to him by doing that?
Of grieving.
It's more catharsis.
For you.
It's catharsis. And there's not a thing I could or would take back because it was for me, not for them. And yet they get something out of it. I'm not a clown. I would never dishonor my husband, and I don't think I have.
Do you blame yourself? I mean, I know that there are fans of his who blame you.
I do.
What could you have done different? And what do you blame yourself for?
About 8,000 things. About 8,000 million things.
Could you have stopped it?
Yes.
Could you have stopped it permanently?
No, but I could have been diligent. Hold on, please.
Let's talk about something else, okay? Let's talk
No,
about
finish it.
Okay.
Damn it, finish it.
All right.
So they want to know.
This is the only reason why I keep watching this interview, is because the interviewer starts being very judgmental, kind of like when you go for Christmas to family dinner and everyone's like, so what are you doing now? So you're still working at a cafe? Wow, is that what you're gonna do with it? You know, kind of like that. And then she sees a broken woman, like this old lady, she's a broken woman, and even she's like gaining a little bit of empathy for Courtney, because it's just so obvious that she shouldn't be there and that it's too early.
Why do you think your husband killed himself?
Jesus Christ.
He was ganged up upon. I don't think that intervention works.
You think
on
he should
certain
have
people by a certain age?
ganged up upon by people trying to get him off the drugs? You think he should have stayed on the drugs? If he'd stayed on the drugs, he would have been alive? Courtney, do you really feel?
I don't know.
You feel his death is your fault?
In this instance, yes.
Because?
Because I didn't need to call for an intervention. I shouldn't have called for an intervention. I just panicked.
Because you tried to get him off drugs, and because he was not able to get off drugs, even though you were trying to do the right thing, it's your fault.
He thought it was a waste of space. Yes, yes, I told him he had dropped the baby.
This is just a broken woman. I can't watch this. It makes me emotional. I don't know why. Obviously, it was not her fault, right? I think, sorry to talk about such deep matters on freaking YouTube, which is made for children and for Mr. Beast to make stupid videos, but I think if someone doesn't want to exist anymore, eventually they will find a way. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. Fuck, you know. Why am I reacting to this? I don't know.
And I was mean about it. I wasn't really mean, but I wasn't nice about it. You know, we were really polite to each other, generally, and I told him on the phone, I'm like, you know, you dropped the baby the other day when he was in rehab. You dropped the baby. He was like, what? I'm like, you dropped the baby. You dropped Frances on her head.
Sorry, I think I overlooked that sentence she said of, he feels like a waste of space. Feeling like a waste of space, man. Like when you feel like you're not even a human anymore, you're just a thing taking up people's time and space and effort and sucking on their love like a leech. That must be horrible feeling, horrible feeling.
She was wearing a big hooded coat. He did not hurt her. And I did not need to tell him that.
And you think that's why he did it? Because
I
you
think
said to
that's
him,
a major reason.
Courtney.
I do. I think that's a major reason. All right.
You see how she's gaining empathy for Courtney. She's like, oh, finally she's connecting with the fact that she's in front of a human, not just a rock star, a messy rock star. That's the wife of a famous guy.
And also, he felt like a waste of space and a sellout, and he'd made everything too huge, and it was his fault that everything was too huge. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I do.
I mean, it came like a Mack truck. First it was magical. It was so weird. It was surreal and magic in the air. Everybody my age remembers that period when his band got big, and then huge, and then the grown-ups knew, and then the boomers knew, and then, you know, I'm not putting you down by any means.
And then I knew. Someone as square as I knew.
The grown-ups knew. The boomers knew. Fucking hell. Now that I'm in the process of becoming a bit of a grown-up, I don't feel like a grown-up. God knows I don't feel like a grown-up. I have no idea what I'm doing. I still have that feeling of like, the grown-ups know? Like if the grown-ups know, that means that something is really mainstream. I don't see myself as a grown-up yet. I still feel young. It's nice to see that she's like 31 or something like that. And I mean, I don't know if she's saying it because she felt like that at that time or she feels like that now, but I'd like to think that that's how she feels now. That's something I like about our generation. Like a lot of celebrities or the artists making interesting things like Rosalia or Charlie XCX. You know, these are women that are like 32, 33 years old, but they still keep a fresh mind in the sense that they keep exploring their art, they keep expressing themselves. They're still sexual and sensual, more like that. Sensual beings, evolving and intelligent and free. You know, and they don't need to preach necessarily that you already need to be married and with kids and getting a mortgage or doing what people are telling you you need to do. I think Courtney Love is exactly the example of this, but 30 years earlier.
Person or heart to heart, whatever, but you know, age-wise and lifestyle-wise, we're different. And
he was a superstar.
And he was too famous.
What about your own career? Does that have real meaning to you?
I wouldn't be live if I hadn't gone on tour and if I hadn't worked.
Are you good?
Work. Am I good?
Yeah, critics say you're good. Critics say it's not just that she's Mrs. Kurt Cobain, she's good. I
couldn't have gotten anywhere if I wasn't good. You know, you wouldn't be talking to me right now if we actually sucked.
That's what I like. That's what I was trying to explain in the beginning when I was trying to tell you why she's my personal icon. She is right now being a broken woman because her husband died. She's being ambushed by this interviewer with really tough questions, but she's still confident enough and brave enough to be like, look, yes to all of this, like what we talked about, that was me being vulnerable and broken, but bear in mind that I am good. There's no imposter syndrome here about this. Like, you wouldn't be talking to me if I sucked. I keep my dignity, I keep my value in my art and my confidence in my art. That is something that is super hard to achieve. And I went to art school, and like a pretty known art school. And a lot of people that didn't do well, including me, it wasn't always necessarily because our work was worse or whatever, or like people who did really well, it wasn't always because their work was really good, but it was their confidence. I really admire people who were confident about their work. And there's so many insecure people. There were so many insecure people, me included. And I really admire people who are just so sure of themselves, without any pretending or without pretending to be anything that they are not. I really love people who have no other option but to be themselves. And that is Courtney Love.
Don't suck. And
what's the opposite of not sucking?
We're really good.
Okay.
And that might sound arrogant, and I'm sorry. It's just the truth.
And that's it. I think Barbara Walters was, you know, starting to like her and being really nice to her and trying to support her in the sense of like, tell me, what is the opposite of not sucking? Like, you're good, just say it. Say it in front of us, say it in front of the whole country. It's such a harsh interview, Actually, for a second in the middle, I was wondering, like, why am I doing this? Is this too much? Because Courtney Love is still alive. Not saying that it will make any difference if she was not alive, but I don't want to exploit, you know, people's images. Not that Courtney Love is ever going to watch this video or going to know about this video, but it kind of feels wrong, at least for me, a little bit. This is a very short interview. I feel like I talked a lot. I'm so sorry. I hope this wasn't boring or that you were dreading that you were hearing me speak more than you were hearing her. But I just wanted to tell you things about her life because I think she's super, super, super interesting and super, super talented. That we know of, until not long ago, she was still struggling with substance abuse and with all these things that make her a bit messy. But, you know, I kind of believe in separating the artist from the art. Actually, I don't know which one it is the right one, like separating the artist from the art or not separating the artist from the art. Like, my theory is that in one single sentence, you should be able to say that an artist is amazing and that the art is valuable and that this is the good thing about them and that whatever, they were a shit person or they did something wrong, and like on the opposite, you know, they had these negatives. But that's pretty much everything for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment, let's talk about this, let's do more reactions, suggest me things to react to as well, because sometimes I don't know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys, see you next time, bye bye.